Good morning. My name is Layla Quarles. I'm a junior at Lane College located in Jackson, Tennessee. And today I will be interviewing Chief Quarles. He works at Meharry Medical College. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. How are you, Layla?
I'm doing good. So I have a little bit of questions to ask you. So the first question is, can you tell me a little bit about your background and why you entered the law enforcement?
Yes. Like I said, my name is Thomas Quarles. I'm the chief of Meharry Medical College, Department of Public Safety, Campus Safety and Security. My background is I have a bachelor's degree from Tennessee State University and a master's degree from Cumberland University in Masters of Public Administration. I'm a 25-year veteran, law enforcement uh, veteran. And the reason I got in law enforcement starting out, you know, starting out, I didn't like the police. I didn't really care about them at all. I didn't care about law enforcement until I met some police officers that was good people, and I got to know them personally. And they kind of introduced me to law enforcement and said it would be a good career, for a person like myself. So that was the main reason that I entered law enforcement, to be on the other side and to see how things operate within the law enforcement community. That was one of the things that drove me to becoming a police officer.
So I know you're in law enforcement, but growing up, did you ever consider any other career than law enforcement? If so, what career?
But growing up, my thing was I wanted to be a lawyer, and that was my main purpose. I worked for a couple of law firms when I was an undergraduate, and um, and that was my main objective. And if not that, I was planning on going into the Air Force to follow in the footsteps of my brother-in-law. And but the law enforcement bug hit me, and that's where I went, and that was the best decision for me.
Tell me a time in your career that you experienced a bad situation. What was the outcome?
Well, the one of the bad situation that I worked was an aircraft crash. It was my very first aircraft crash that I worked, and it uh, ended up taking the lives of four people. I worked on the pilot doing first aid. He lived for a week, and the best thing that came out of that is that I became a better a first responder. I started to take situations more seriously than I did before, and I finally had to grow up within law enforcement community after that working that plane crash. Because then I knew for sure that when I get the radio call of an incident, that it was possibly really bad. And so what I mean by really bad is really somebody's really hurt or somebody is actually had lost their life. So at that particular point, I grew up uh, as a first responder and started to take my job more seriously. And I wanted to become the best at it after that. So repeat that again.
What advice would you give to an individual that's trying to prove law enforcement?
The advice that I give is that make sure that you're doing the right things, that your background follows you, and then you got to make sure that your background is intact. There's a lot of stuff that prevent people from being in law enforcement. It's their background. When they do a background check, they go back 10 years, and that could be anything from a misdemeanor arrest for possession of marijuana to DUI to just just doing things that is going to have a negative impact on your future. So you always got to remember that your name follows you, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, your name follows you. And so you got to make sure that you protect your name, who you are, your name, your family name. Those things are important. That you have to protect those things and not do something that would show a dim light on yourself and your family. So that is major, major, major part of keeping people out of law enforcement. There could be good people, good police officers, good administrators, but if they have a blemish in their background, they are not going to make it in. And that is the truth, and that is factual.
What was your what was your most memorable experience at the airport working in law enforcement?
My most memorable experience was actually there was two. I remember working a case where these two elderly people got separated, They was going to the restroom. One went to the left and one went to the right, and they lost each other. And I helped reunite them. And it was a really good thing because when they finally was reunited, it appeared that they had been away from each other for years, and that was refreshing to see that at that age, that they were still in love and they still loved each other. And that right there was the thing that I aspired to be, with my wife, is that at that age that I'm still excited to see her and miss her and love her. And that right there really touched my heart. And the other situation where I worked on this guy who had a heart attack, and I had to use the AED, to shock him 3 times. And then months later, that he came back and he saw me and he thanked me, and I didn't know who he was. And so, and then he reminded me that I had helped him, help save his life, and I had helped so many people that I don't remember faces. I just remember incidents, and that was another thing that stood out. And I will never forget that day. But I still don't know the guy's name, but I know what he looked like, how tall he is, what kind of clothes he was wearing, what names. No, I don't remember. And that was a memorable thing, real memorable for me to help this guy to live and survive. And he's up and he's kicking and he's back doing his things that he loves to do.
What advice would you share with the person just entering the career of law enforcement?
What advice I show with a person wanting a career in law enforcement?
Yes, just entering the path to be law enforcement.
Well, I would tell the person, it's a saying that goes, be in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. And that's at every situation when nobody's looking, that you have to make sure that you're in the right place, doing the right thing at the right time, and everything in your law enforcement career would be good. You always got to remember, that law enforcement can be about 3 things. It could be about yourself, it could be about the job, and it could be about this other thing. Other things has nothing to do with the job, and of course it cannot be about you. It got to be about the job, the work. You make it about the work and the job, you have a long career in law enforcement. But if you try to make it about yourself and about other things that has nothing to do with law enforcement, you're going to have a long, unhappy career.
What has been your position at police chief at medical college?
Repeat that. Repeat that for me.
What has been your most memorable experience in your current position, police chief at Harry Medical College?
With right now, it's been just to interact with these medical students, to hear their stories, how they got to Meharry, the obstacles that they came through, some of the setbacks and the shortcomings, but that didn't stop them from pursuing their dream. And a lot of these students here are getting MDs and PhD degrees at the same time. So they all got different stories. They all come from different backgrounds, but one thing they have in common is excellence. So they want to strive to be the best, and they're here at Meharry to be the best, to become the best doctors, the best dentists, the best researchers. So, just interacting with them and hearing their story and try to give them some of my life experiences, that is the most outstanding thing and the most memorable thing that I do right now, is that I want them to know that their dreams are possible and that they can accomplish anything they put their minds to. But you got to work for it, because nothing is given; it's all earned.